Is grain becoming new oil for Russia? We all know that history gyrates. In the late 19th, early 20th century, Russia was one of the main grain exporters. In exchange for which Russia received foreign currency loans for industrial development. Regarding export of grain, both the Russian Empire and the Soviet Union had some special characteristics. First, the exported grain was of low quality with large amount of impurities, so they had to export more for the same money. And this is considering that the grain of export depended a lot on how rich was the harvest in different years. Here we should mention that 80% of the country's territory is a zone of risky farming. The second characteristic is the poorly developed export infrastructure. Most of the ports in the Russian Empire weren't able to accept modern ships. The ports were poorly equipped with machinery, storage facilities, and elevators. In 1930s, due to a record harvest, the exports of grain abroad increased. The country needed money for forced industrialization. So the grain was exported in huge amounts at low prices until a higher quality American product entered the market. This was a very controversial period in the country's history. On the one hand, the government introduced state grain monopoly. It means that the government confiscated the grain from peasants besides the small amount that was necessary for them to survive. On the other hand, next followed harvest failure, and all this together led to the famine. So, the Golodomor, the official concept that the Ukrainian side likes to manipulate so much, was not only in Ukraine. The famine embraced the whole country, including the fertile lands of the Volga region. It was then when the catchphrase "the starving from the Volga region" appeared. This phrase refers to people who eat really too much, as if they were starving for a long time. The industrial backwardness of the Soviet Union required huge investments, including the purchase of equipment and technologies abroad. And this wasn't possible without cash currency and gold reserves. Over the last 10 years, Russia has come out on the top in grain exports, ahead of the European Union, the United States, Canada, and Ukraine. The total market volume is 184 million tons. But at the same time, Russia gets less income for selling grain than the United States or Canada, which sell the grain at much higher price. And attention, in 2014, for the first time, grain export brought Russia more income than selling arms. On March 15, Russia has suspended the export of grain abroad, including the countries of Eurasian Economic Union. This already caused the displeasure of Kazakhstan because they already faced crop failure. In 2023, in Russia is expected the reduction of cultivated areas and accordingly the reduction of the harvest. This is connected to economic impracticality, the reduction of possible markets to sell it, and demotivation of producers. Now grain has become one of the ways for the Russian government to manipulate the decisions of Western countries. The Western leaders and international organizations forecast famine and increasing prices for grain products. In conditions of embargo on buying Russian energy sources, grain can again become a great source of currency and income for Russia to maintain its economy. And what is your opinion? Can grain become the new oil for Russia? If the video was interesting for you, please subscribe our Patreon. The active link is under the video. And see you!